Welcome to Drop the Mic, broadcasting from The Lounge, also known as the Cigar Affair in downtown Maumee, Ohio. I'm Mike, your host. Thanks for joining us for insightful conversations about business, technology, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Alongside my co-hosts Brendan and Zach, together we'll dive into the latest trends, share valuable insights, and interview inspiring guests. Now, get ready for Drop the Mic. Welcome to Drop the Mic. We're here at the Lounge in Maumee, Ohio. I'm Mike, your host. I've got Brendan on the board today. It's just Brendan and I. Zach's traveling for work, so he's out for today's show. But Brendan and I are going to mix it up today. Brendan, how's it going?
Going good. Just got back from a concert. We were in Pennsylvania this weekend over at Penn State, the Beaver Stadium. So just got back this afternoon. Had an very eventful.
Yeah, I heard a very Brendan thing happened. Tell us about that.
Oh, all right. So we headed back late last night from the concert, and we were staying about 30 minutes out of State College. And got back, the gas light popped on, and I was like, all right, well, we'll just catch it in the morning. So got packed up this morning.
By the way, rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake, definitely. So, so started the car this morning. Hopped on Google Maps. Sam's Club was about 34 miles away. We had 36 miles on the dash until empty. So I was like, all right, well, let's risk it for the biscuit. So we're going through the hills and in the mountains, and, so the gas is fluctuating. And what happened is we changed our direction. We stopped and wasn't going to go to Sam's Club. We were going to go to Sheetz gas station. The Sheetz gas station was 6 miles away. And we ended up getting on the road, and about 1.6 miles away, we ended up running out of gas. The missus was not very happy with me. I heard that for the whole ride home. So I ended up having to go knocking door to door to find that lucky fellow that was going to help me out. So met Todd. Todd was a really good old gentleman, and he was heading to church and ended up deciding to help me out a little bit. So I ended up putting 1 gallon in. And still wasn't enough to crank her up, so I had to go up for a second time and go grab a 2nd gallon from him. But he was able to take care of us. So
the plot thickens. So here's the big question: did you at least get a like or follow out of this guy while you were there? I mean,
no. I ended up actually sending him a gift basket. I sent him a chocolate basket to his house.
Oh, that's good.
But hopefully, get a lifetime long friendship there. And
right on. That's a very Brendan story, by the way. For those of you that don't know Brendan. These types of things happen to Brendan from time to time.
Yep,
so, kind of like getting here today to set up for the podcast and no mixer to be found. So I had to run back for the mixer again.
You could ask Mariah. There's a long list of things that I do that I'm not very proud of, but hey, life goes on.
That it does. Okay, so what kind of show, Brendan, do you have prepared for us today?
I have no idea. I thought that was on you. I thought you were preparing something for us today.
Well, you're lucky because we got a great podcast for you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking about company culture, and not just like the boring, same old flavor of the day company culture, but I've got a new take on this, and really I spent, so I was on vacation in Vegas last week and had some time to really kind of think about, the platform and helping people and truly helping people understand this concept. But we're going to be talking about a different approach to company culture. So buckle in and we'll get going on that. So first of all, when it comes to company culture, corporate culture, business culture in general, I believe, Brendan, that these HR managers and the executives of these companies have it completely wrong. And let me tell you why. First of all, they take a very linear approach to corporate culture. So anytime, obviously I've done some consulting with businesses. I work in the corporate world, and a lot of times, these businesses think that corporate culture is derived from the executive level down.
Right. It's in their mission statement, right? That's kind of what they drive.
Absolutely. But and then they're surprised a few years later after they do all this training that their executives are out of touch with what I call the core of the business, which is where the money is made, right? Whether you're, a tax firm or whether you're in manufacturing, the money's made with the people filing the returns.
Right, the boots on the ground.
The boots on the ground, right? The people running the production lines are the people that, are making the company the money. And a lot of times the executives, get to a point where they're just out of touch and they're making decisions thinking that their culture is something that really isn't, right? But, let me give you a few facts. I've got them listed out here. So first of all, highly engaged teams are 21% more profitable,
Okay.
right? So 21%. So there's a reason, right, to engage people in the profitability. But where's profit really driven from? Is it driven from the executive realm, or is it driven from production? I say, from a strategy standpoint, certainly executive realm, but from the actual making of the money, it's actually driven, at the bottom.
The guy's pushing out the parts, right? The guy's running the machines.
It's that 2 or 3 more parts a day, right, that they're able to produce. That's going to make the difference between an okay year and a banner year. So a balanced culture prioritizes employee well-being. It prioritizes employee, efficiency. It prioritizes all of these things. And I don't care what these executives say, the true knowledge of a business is at the floor level.
100%.
Right.
Kind of, just as we're talking right here, I mean, I would be at the ground level. You would be more mid-level management there. And so you're motivating guys like me to get out there and sell, right? So you're trying to push that culture down to me, because if it's not a good culture, I'm not going to be willing to go out there and work hard for you.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is if I'm disconnected from you and I don't understand, and I'm throwing all these KPIs and these MBOs that you think are stupid, right? That you think are a waste of your time. All you want to do is go out and sell something, right? And I'm making you do all these check the box activities because I think that's what our culture needs.
Yeah.
Right? That's a disconnect.
Right. And then if you're, if the culture's bad, right, and we don't have transparency between our relationship, I'm not going to feel comfortable to talk to you about those things, right? So I'm not going to be able to say, hey, Mike, why is this KPI like this? Can you break this down a little bit for me? So if we don't have that relationship, it makes it challenging as well.
Absolutely. So, to bring this in, I mean, you and I both work for a company where the culture was just a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of the company. People can probably figure it out. Doesn't matter. But the culture was bad, right? But within that company, we had good culture, right, amongst the sales team, right? We were, and at that time, I was a salesman just like you were, and we were out there mixing it up, helping each other close deals. Everybody was not just working for themselves, but we were working for the greater good of the team.
Collaborative, yeah.
But then we'd walk into the facility, it's like 1,000-pound weight got put on top of your head, right? Everything was just destroyed as soon as you entered the building.
And honestly, you were hoping that week or those weeks that you did go into the facility, you're hoping and crossing your fingers that you're going to get sick or something's going to happen, right? Because you don't want to do it.
Or at least the time passes quickly, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to get too much of a beating while you're there. But so the question is why does this happen? What disconnect is there, at the executive realm, that causes, the splintering of the culture, right? And all these subcultures to be created. And I believe it's just the lack of focus where it needs to be.
Right.
Right. So think about, instead of a linear line of culture, think about culture as a circle, right? The organization itself is a circle. The core of that organization is the people that do the work, right?
The day-to-day operation.
So think about that as a core, right in the center of that circle. So I believe that the closer you get to the center of that circle in teaching leadership and culture and values and all of these things, the closer you get to the core of that circle, the more success you're going to have in actually building a sustainable culture, building a next man up of organization where you're building leaders from within the organization, and they're all working with the same values and morals and
With objectives, right?
yeah, objectives. Good.
So are you saying that you should need to infiltrate from mid-level management and boots on the ground?
No, I'm saying boots on the ground.
Okay.
Boots on the ground. I'm saying this is the gap, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to pull guys off of a production floor, let's say, and have them sit through, leadership training, and companies don't do it. Right. They'll pull their middle management in and do teams meetings and all of these great trainings, but they're very slow to offer that to the people. Right down to the janitor of the company.
And I think there's a little bit of a misconception between a manager and a leader, right?
Yeah.
I know you have some great content on that, and I think more people need to be a leader instead of a manager, even if you have that managerial role.
I always say that leadership doesn't require an authority position. Anybody can be a leader, and we know that. You have kids that are natural leaders, and other kids want to follow them, right? That follows all the way up through, our entire lives. There's people that just have some sort of charisma, some sort of emotional intelligence, some sort of, being that makes people want to follow them. Right. So the question is, how do we teach that to people that don't have an authority position, that are just workers out on the floor? And you know what? God bless the workers, man. I mean, without them, right, things don't get done, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a referendum against the workers. This is actually, we need to take more, a better approach in training people. So I work with a company who, they promote their supervisors off of their shop floor. And then they get into all kinds of trouble because their supervisors don't know how to talk to the people. They don't know how to motivate the people. Lawsuits happen. Productivity goes down, right? Because they're just promoting these people who are great operators, but technical skills alone, isn't enough to be a manager, to be a leader of people, right? It's not enough. Right. So what they do is they promote these people that are ill-equipped. They're not ready to handle the people part of the job. Certainly they are ready to handle the technical part. And then the companies fire these people and wonder why they can't find good supervisors. Right.
It's a continuous circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely is. So, my idea and the new platform that I'm going to launch with you is it's going to be focused around core culture, right? So I want to really focus on teaching businesses to focus on the core of their business, teach these people the skills that they need to lead the people, and really build the company up from the center out, right? Instead of a linear path, we're now working, from the center out, and that's going to also help align the executive management and the upper management to what's happening down on the production floor.
100%.
Does this make sense?
Yeah. And I think that's very relatable on all aspects of life, right? So, I mean, even, look at sports. There has to be a leader. There has to be a leader in the locker room. And if there's not, somebody comes in that's not a leader, they're going to be a cancer to the locker room. It tears the whole team apart.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing, so when I was going through my research, Glassdoor reported that companies with a connected culture, right, where the vision starts from the top, to the bottom, so this entire circle's filled with a strong, healthy culture, they retain 27% more employees. So when you start talking to people about why, right, why train my production employees on this skill set? 27% less turnover.
And if I'm a CEO or a manager, why wouldn't I be implementing this process?
It's
why
a
wouldn't
huge
I?
expense, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a huge expense. You got to onboard people. It's a cost of firing them as well.
Absolutely. And 21% more efficient, right? Company with an integrated culture, 21% more efficient. And those aren't my numbers. Those come from Deloitte, right? I looked it up. I actually used ChatGPT and looked all this stuff up. So So I got good citation here. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to be launching, this new platform, where we're going to be talking to, the boots on the ground, man, and we're going to be, trying to change company culture by focusing on those individuals.
So one question I do have for you, Mike, is I know we've had a good relationship, and I understand where you've came from and why I would listen to you. But
Yeah.
why would our viewers take what you say and actually dive a little bit deeper into it and listen to you?
Man, you're putting me on the spot today. Here on the air, I haven't really explained, my background to everybody who may be listening to this. But, I had a family business that I was involved with. It was started by my grandfather. I was third generation management of that business and managed that business with my family for many years. Unfortunately, back in 2014, so 10 years ago, we lost the business. It was a healthy business. Made a couple bad mistakes through a recession, and the next thing you know, the bank is walking in and terminating you. Terminating me. From my own company.
So you got fired from your own organization?
Absolutely got fired. Yeah, fired from my grandfather's business by the bank, who ended up taking it. I mean, I'm talking 75 employees. I'm talking.
So it's a big organization.
We were a good medium-sized business for sure. And business is fragile. The thing is that I wish I knew then what I know now, right? But what that experience did for me is it opened my eyes to, how fragile businesses are and how we have to take care of, the small things within the business. My story goes back. I mean, I started in my early 20s in a management position in my family's business, and I was a tyrant. I was an absolute tyrant. I'll tell you a good story that'll show you how bad of a leader and a manager I was. Hired this young guy. He was doing menial work out on the shop floor, very, very low wage guy, who had a task. And again, it was a menial task. And one day I was in a bad mood or something. And again, I'm probably 21 at the time. I walk out and he's sitting on a stool, right? And we had these stools in our shop. There were wood stools. There were 4 or 5 of them sitting around. And I got mad, right? For whatever reason, I was mad that this kid was sitting down. He's probably older than I was, to be honest with you. But he was sitting down on this stool, and I thought that was lazy, and I was mad. So I told him to get off the stool. I collected all 4 or 5 stools in the shop, and I went in the center of the shop where everybody could see me, and I busted them up with a sledgehammer, and then I made the kid throw all the pieces in the dumpster.
Did you send that footage to WB for an application?
No, but I mean, and the funny thing is that it was a power struggle. It was a power trip, right? I mean, I had this position, and people should respect me, and because I'm the shop foreman. What I say goes, and it was just a bad approach, man. It was a bad approach, and the thing is that I've had to learn all of these things the hard way. Looking back, my almost 52-year-old self is embarrassed by that, right?
Yeah.
How could I have been that guy? Like I said, I wish I knew then what I know now.
So in that situation, what would you have done? I mean, what would have been an approach that you would have taken?
Let the kid sit down. I mean, what the hell, man? If who cares, right? I mean, it was silly, right? It was silly. But the mentality, it's all about that authoritarian mentality.
Yeah.
And too many people get this, right? Too many people all of a sudden you get promoted, and now you're the supervisor, you're the boss, and these 10 people are under your supervision, and you got to make sure, and you can recognize these people because they say things like, why are you messing up on my line, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's no longer the company's line, it's your line, right? That's a very authoritarian, like, boss mentality, right? When you have that. And like I said, I wish looking back, I wish that I would have understood, what I now understand. How did doing that, what I did more damage, to the trust and the respect, that I was trying to have, that I thought I would just have because of the position. It did more damage for years, right? It did more damage. And Brendan, I could go on forever about dumb things that I've done, that looking back, I recognize that now. And the thing is, for me, you ask why. Why should people listen to me? Because I've made the mistake. The one thing, when we started this, you and I came up with this idea and decided to have this podcast, and we decided that we wanted to help people, right?
Yeah.
So I am an anti-program guy, right? When you look on LinkedIn, you see all these programs and these experts trying to sell you books and trying to sell you programs, and I think it's all ridiculous, okay? I'm calling out all of the people that sell stupid programs on LinkedIn and try to monetize this. Listen, you don't need a program. You don't need to spend $5,000 on a program to learn how to lead and manage people. All you have to do is understand a couple things, have a little bit of empathy, right, for people, have a little bit of self-awareness of what your own triggers are and how to regulate that when it comes up, right? And have a little bit of wisdom so you can sit and think about something instead of reacting to problems. Think about it and respond to problems. You don't need to buy a program to do this. All you have to do, like I said, is just understand a few principles, and then you can teach yourself.
And I'm looking forward to learning right along with our viewers, because I've spent countless of money on subscriptions and all of this and books and all that to learn absolutely nothing. So I'm looking forward to going on this journey with our viewers and learning as we're going as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting.
I think it's funny that you'll drive like 25 miles out of your way and run out of gas because you want to save $3 on a tank of gas, but you'll spend $2,000 on a program that the guy's giving you for free on TikTok anyway. If you just watch their shorts, I mean, they're not telling you any more than what they're shorting out on Twitter, right? I mean, it's just to me, it's silly.
It's the perception, right? If you're buying it, you feel like it's worthy of something. And truly, it's really not.
Brendan, we all think there's an easy button, right? We all think there's an easy button. And if I just read this book and understand what this guy is saying, that I'll magically get it. Guess what? You're not going to. There's nothing in that book that's going to make you better. But what is going to make you better is just knowledge, right? Emotional intelligence. And really, what's the four, pieces of emotional intelligence? Self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and wisdom. That's it. It is that simple. And like I said, people don't need a program to do that. So we aren't gonna have a program to do that. What we're gonna do is we're going to, use the podcast. We're going to talk to business leaders. We're gonna do all of those things and hopefully impart some of the knowledge that I wish I knew when I was starting my management journey, right? And since then, I've held, after the business closed, I went and I became a sales guy, and I was mentoring, our sales team. That's where you and I met.
Yep.
Have moved on. Now I'm a sales manager, mentoring a team and part of a great team. And it's all about understanding yourself, understanding how to motivate people, and understanding how to be emotionally intelligent. And really, if you can do all of those things properly, you're going to build culture from the core out. Right?
Yeah.
If you can have managers and frontline, and boots on the ground that all understand these principles, you're going to be successful in building a culture that actually makes positive differences to their organization.
So then it truly does start with myself and my peers.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, let's say you work for XYZ company, 35,000 employees, global company. Do you think that you're going to change the culture in that organization? No.
Absolutely not.
No, of course you're not. Never. But what you can do is start with what I call the 20 feet in front of your face, right? You can start with the people that you interact with on a daily basis and you can impart these, this mentality and this culture of learning and culture of empathy and culture of productivity and efficiency, you can have that effect, and hopefully and that will start to spread.
Snowball effect.
Absolutely. All of a sudden, a guy that works for you goes to another team, and has an influence over that team, and maybe somebody from that team goes somewhere else, right? And all of a sudden, the company changes. Right.
Slowly but surely.
It's going to be slow, right? Now, if you're a small business, right, and you have, let's say, 10 employees, it becomes a little bit easier for you. But I still say there's a disconnect, right? I mean, when I had my shop, right, there was a disconnect. There was a different, the upper management, the owners of the company thought that the employees, felt or thought differently of the company, than we thought, right? It was different. There was a disconnect there. Yeah, I mean, this happens in every organization, big or small, right? We think that the employees like their job and are happy and whatever, and then we're surprised when they leave and don't give a notice, right? And go down the street for $1 more an hour. Right?
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time. That is more in, and everybody goes, oh, that guy, we didn't need him anyway. Yes, you did need him. Yes. Don't, now all of a sudden we're going to trash that guy because that's a referendum on you. It's not that he didn't want to work. He didn't want to work for you.
Yeah.
Okay? People leave bad managers, right? People leave bad companies. People leave bad cultures. If people are happy in what they're doing, they stay. Money isn't always the determining factor of that.
And I can speak to that because I'm currently in an organization that truly, everything from onboarding on out has really had a positive impact and really been very transparent with me. That's helped. That just defines their company culture itself. They've been allowed me to be a part of, kind of helping out with my KPIs. What types of organizational skills I need to have. It kind of just walked me through that process.
I mean, they actually, you co-developed your own KPIs and MBOs.
Yeah.
That's, awesome. So a shout out to Joe. I mean, Joe, you know who you are. I mean, Joe is a great sales manager. I know Joe, personally. That kind of stuff just, that gives me hope, right?
So, yeah, and I, in my first week onboarding, I thanked him for making it such an easy transitional process. Because even from 3 weeks out before I started, he had my laptop, my bag, my business cards with my phone number. He had everything sitting on his desk, sent me a picture saying, hey, man, ready when you are. And just from there on out, it's been a smooth transition. And that really has shown me what a true positive company culture really is.
You know what the fun part is about that? Is even if organizationally or operationally, I should say, the company is kind of a dumpster fire, you almost give them a pass for that.
Yeah.
Right? You're willing to roll up your sleeves and help them figure it out, right? Because the culture is good.
Yeah.
Right? If the culture is good, most of your problems
you wake up, you actually want to go to work, you actually want to do your job, and you're willing to put in the sweat equity.
So it's funny you say that, Brendan, because there's actually another statistic by Deloitte. So Deloitte did a study. So they found that a well-balanced culture leads to 29% more innovation and creativity, as well as adaptability, for their companies in competitive, dynamic markets. That's what it says.
So if you have a good culture and you're positive,
you're more innovative.
Yeah. Your employees might be introducing that new product to the market.
Absolutely. So basically, getting down to all of this, right? It's just a different look at, culture. It's a different look at how to build culture. And like I said, I believe that, we have it wrong. We focus the need to build culture in the wrong place in organizations. And we want to really talk to the doers, the boots on the ground, and really start to build, culture from the center of the core, and let it radiate out to the rest of the organization.
Right. And before we go and before we end this, one thing that you would tell somebody in my position or maybe a mid-level manager that would help boost that company culture, help become a little bit more positive within this whole atmosphere of the cold culture?
So what I would say is that every single person makes a difference. Doesn't matter where you're at in the organization. It doesn't matter how big your organization is. You're not going to change the company, but what you can change are the people around you. And that's what's important. I had a boss one time tell me, if you're happy with what you're making and you're happy with the people you work with, then you have then generally, you should be happy with where you're at in life, because a lot of people don't have that.